Hello and welcome to the HumeScope podcast from and Lowell. For those of you who don't know us, HumeScope is a recruitment training business co-founded by myself, Ed Khan, and Laura Hopes.
And each week we're going to be giving you 10-minute snippets into our world of recruitment, tips and tricks to help you on your journey as an agency recruiter, and hopefully some laughs along the way too. We hope you guys enjoy.
Hello and welcome to our podcast. We've got a new guest speaker, little Emma.
Little co-host today. I feel like having Emma here feels like the perfect situation for what we're talking about.
Literally, time management. How do you juggle it all? This is how.
Got this going. I've got a teething baby. There's crap everywhere.
Oh, it's how we roll.
Yeah. And it's so funny, isn't it? Because I'm like only on our podcast.
I was thinking that just about to jump into here. I'm like, one day we might get super corporate and record these from a studio, but that day is not today.
And we will keep getting messages from people saying that the sound is terrible, and we will just keep ignoring it. We'll keep pushing on.
Okay, so this week's topic, little Emma, gosh, she looks interested, doesn't she? It's on time management. Really timely, actually, because we are running our next membership session on this. And actually, of the 400 and something members, over 95% of them chose time management as a topic they wanted. So it's huge. That's almost all of the membership. And I think that's just so common throughout your career as a recruiter.
Yeah. And it definitely over the last, I've been training for nearly 6 years now. And it's the sticking point for most people. Like in a 360 role, how on earth do you get it all done? Like, how do you fill jobs, continue to source new business, look after the clients you've got? And then it's things like, how do you build a passive candidate pool when you're doing all of that? Like, how do you do the additionals? And I think, for me, it always, whenever this topic comes up, the first thing I do is I sit down with people and I go, okay, number one, first activity we're doing, I want you to show me exactly how you plan your day. And number two, I want you to show me what tools you use throughout your day to keep yourself on track and to make sure that you're hitting all of those marks. And literally most people are planning their day with a to-do list of just a list of tasks that urgently need to get done with no structure, no order, and no time for projects. And secondly, in terms of that kind of replanning or having a cadence or a rhythm to your day, there isn't one. We're so driven by what comes up in the moment.
Reactive.
Yeah, we didn't have those anchor points to come back to being like, okay, where was I? Or what's priority and how do I reprioritize?
100%. And you know what it is? Just in all of that, and I'm the same questions and you ask recruiters, and it starts with, for me, the planning. Very few people have a robust plan around what they're actually doing day to day, week to week, month to month, quarter to quarter with regards to their business development. It is, isn't it? God. But if you don't have that, what then happens is when you sit down to do your BD, recruiters are scrambling, spending half an hour looking for lists of people to call, having to read pre-notes going, oh, when did I speak to this person last? Oh, did I say this? Did I say? Before they make a call, they're spending 20 minutes doing some research. And I'm like, that's baffling to me. Do it all in one go, plan it out. Same with your candidate generation. There should be a process in place that you follow just consistently, because that will speed you up. And then, as you said, it's working out what you're doing during the day and what tools are you using to speed it up. Because on the face of it, it might be only a 5-minute save every day. If you're doing that across multiple different tasks, that saves you hundreds of hours a year.
Yeah. And there's so many tools now, and that's the difference, isn't it? So I think it's that planning at the beginning of the day. I mean, you know me, and you know how much I love planning and, structure. But I still use my Trello board on my mat leave. I don't know how the only person who structures their mat leave on the Trello board. But like, I genuinely don't know how people get like their lives in order without some kind of system. So I think there are tools in place, but I think what also seems to happen with recruiters is that we almost celebrate like, oh, we're salespeople, we've got no organization. Yeah. And it's like, that's fine. But if you live in the story of that, then you're never going to get organized. Because it's almost like, well, if the database isn't up to date, well, what can I do about that? You know, like, these are my skills. And it's like, well, that's about becoming more of a rounded person and working on the areas that you're weaker in, because it will save you so much time.
100%. You know what I think it is? I think you and I are good at this, not tooting our own horns, because we grew up. But in recruitment, our first jobs were high volume business support. You cannot run that like a lot of other desks. You have to be reactive, but because you're dealing with hundreds of temps that may or may not be available, you're constantly having to keep in touch. You're managing 15, 20 job orders, and it's quick. You're having to really hone your project management skills. And I think that's what it is. It's project management skills. And I would suggest anyone wanting some tips on where to start would be literally write out exactly the task that you need to do the minute you pick up a job, like, to the minute detail. How long does it take you for each of those tasks? Really map it out, and then just get it on a whiteboard or a Trello board, however your brain works, but just really sort of work out each of those steps, when you're going to do them, how long it takes, and you'll be surprised as you're going through that how long you think something may take you, and when you actually do it, it's two very different things, but that will speed you up. And if you're not tracking your time like that, you may be sitting there going, it only takes me half an hour to source. And I'm like, no. Do you really know how long it takes you? Do you spend 4 hours on it a day? I know all of those times get blown out if you're not tracking it. And so the starting point for me would be break down each single task that you do, how long do you think it takes you, and sort of triage the tasks.
That's such a great shout. And actually, that's something that I used to do with my team. Once a quarter, we would track like 3 days, and it would just be like, it was broken down into 15-minute increments. And like, yes, it was time consuming, but it was just like, they just listed all of their tasks along the top, 15-minute increments. And then we went through the activity, and it was just like, just shade in literally where you're spending your time. And then we would review it together, and you would get so much clarity on where you were potentially wasting time, what your main distractions were, whether your distractions were people. Like, I got the guys to tally every time they were distracted by someone or something. And it's an intense activity to do, which obviously takes you away from your day job. But what it does is show you where the gaps are and actually how long things are taking you. And I think, like you said, what you can then do is start to go, okay, well, one, I know how much time I need to allocate for activities, but I think it also shows you where your sticking points are. And something I know you're really passionate about, and something we've been using a lot in Hume, is looking at, well, then what tools can you use, like automation tools, you know, Chat GPT, all of these opportunities, Trello, like there's so many tools that you can use to automate or streamline your processes. And if you start adding that in, that's naturally going to save your time anyway.
Yeah. 100%. I love that idea of actually doing it as a team, and then going, okay, well, this is taking me 15 minutes. Why is it taking you an hour? How are you doing? How's the person doing it in 15 minutes doing it? Group learning, and going, cool. Well, that's roughly how long we're all going to try and sort of speed it up too.
Yeah, like, how do we optimize it? And also, does that mean that the process, for example, how we run things internally doesn't work? Like, the process has sticking points, or it's got too many steps, or it's an amazing opportunity to see where the inefficiencies are as a leader in your teams, because someone might say, okay, well, it took me 45 minutes to post a job, and you go, why? And they're like, well, because we have to jump through all of these hoops, for example. So I think as a leader, it's an amazing opportunity to be able to coach your teams on where they might be struggling. But I think if I was just to give one tip, it would be in really giving yourself actual time in the morning to plan, like really actually spending that time in the morning. So like, where are my priorities? What am I prioritizing that potentially is just me putting off doing like other things? where is my business development happening, and like really just time blocking that out and getting clear on like, okay, cool, if a grenade is chucked at my day, fine, but if it isn't, this is what my perfect day looks like today.
I love that. Yes. Prioritization and reprioritisation continuously. And you demonstrated it well when Emma needed that caterpillar. You're like, no, that's prioritisation.
Right,
Right there in action.
Do not let the caterpillar out of a teething child's sight.
I was
so
giggling
funny,
earlier going, how's Nick coping with your extreme organisational Trello board skills with parenting?
Oh, he wasn't involved in it. Nick's a very fluid. I'm like, yeah, but the Trello board says she finished her last nap at this time. But you know what? Like, I think as well, I think we often don't know what our capacity is until it's challenged. I think, you know, for a lot of people, it's like, well, that's all I could do today. That's all I could fit into today. And actually, if you look at potentially what you did, or you do start to plan things out, there's normally inefficiencies in there that you could change. And it's not about becoming like an optimization robot, but I think it's about making better use of the time you have, not working longer hours, right?
That's exactly it. And I think that's the whole point of this. It's actually just one, from a recruiter perspective, to make you more money, because all the $1 million billers, here's the secret, they're not doing 12, 13-hour days. They're doing the same amount of work as you, but they're very, very optimized. They know exactly what they need to do, when they need to do it, and they are uber focused because they've got a plan. Realistically, genuinely, I think that's the main difference between a 500k biller and a $1 million biller. $1 million biller just knows how to optimize their time, and they get shit done within the time. They're not working 15-hour days.
No. And it's like you know, you said in your recent LinkedIn post, like there is occasionally the need to do the extra, but that shouldn't be every single day. You're just, you know, you're online between 7 and 7 because you don't have a plan, and then you get to the end of the day. And I think where a lot of the stress is for this job and a lot of the burnout is in, I don't know if today was a good day or not. There isn't a plan. And that's exhausting, isn't it? Getting to the end of the day and just being like, what was that? Like, I have no idea what leads to my success, how long it takes, or like that's a path to burnout.
You've come back at the perfect time, Laura, to do our next membership session on time management. It's like, it sounds like a boring subject, but I genuinely think it will be one of the most valuable sessions we've done out of the membership.
Yeah.
Because we'll take you through step by step exactly how a temp recruiter can run their day, perm recruiter, and there's similar principles and similar tools that you can utilize. But yeah, I think it will be one of the most valuable ones.
I agree. And I've got a new level of understanding now.
Oh my God, look at her. She's so cute.
Just the eyes.
I know. How do you even focus? Thanks for coming on the podcast, Emma.
Baby, look at your Uncle Ez. Yeah. Right. I think
that's it for the week.
Limit. That's our poddy episode limit.
See you guys next week.
See ya.